Hello, and welcome to my playground. This is the Mad Chemist Church, or Church and Gurch, depending on where you know me from. And welcome back to BioShock. We're getting near the end, and we're about to get right into it. So, let's continue. Oh no.
Better for the girls to be with you. Better with you than alone. Alone in the crawling darkness.
Hurry, Mr. Bubbles.
I wonder where he came from.
Hop, hop, Mr.
Nope.
B. No time to wait.
Proxies in case I use. I haven't really been using any of my proxies. I keep forgetting.
Hurry, Mr. B. I can see the angel dancing in the sky.
That's just burning.
That might be plenty for the working scrubs and advanced solutions. But I need more. More! Oh, spice!
Fontaine is nearby. You are reaching close.
Oh, that's the real. You invent.
Hurry, Mr. B.
Ooh, okay. Take the last one.
There! You must use the needle of the little sister to drain Fontaine of his Adam. It is the only way to do it.
X.
Take this. Stick it in the bad man.
I'm gonna assume that.
Fontaine waits above. There will be no going back from here. Make sure you are ready to face him before moving on.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with. This is the final area. Let's go to the gene bank. Plasmids use less Eve. I'll keep that. Keep that. I don't really use the wrench monkey. So if we do electric flesh. And I don't really use that one. So we'll do that. Everything else looks good to me. Got a bunch of proxies, but I'll switch over to grenades.
Bienvenido al amoranido! Muchas gracias!
Mucho gracias. Let's save. Kind of feels like we're going into a final fight. Do I have that now instead of my wrench? They're like, here, have all this ammo. Fontaine. Weeks, lunatics, rebellion, and now bleeding goats. Ain't life Rapture grand.
I remember when me and the crowd put you in that sub. You were no more than two.
Heat seeking first.
You were my ace in the hole. But you were also the closest thing I ever had to a son.
Long tower.
And that's why this hurts. Betrayal, kid. Life ain't strictly business.
But what if it was? Oh, what'd you do to yourself? Did you get a new look? Fontaine's Atom. Stick him.
Go! Go!
Ow.
Come and get it!
There's no dodge button in this game. Nice. Need a minute. Charge.
And I'm gonna cut you into bits.
Damn.
Come and get it!
You think I'm alone in this world? I got more than enough moms to watch my back while I recharge.
That's not what I picked.
You little come and get it!
I paid good money for you. And this is what I get?
I'll take that. Go get him, Mr. That's actually one of the nice things about saving all the little sisters. That actually drops ammunition in this fight. Whereas if you had instead of harvesting.
Then I'm gonna bury you and all them little eggs.
Thanks for all the atoms. He's still got it sticking out of his
I sent you topside. I called you back, showed you what you was capable of.
Good.
Even that life you thought you had, that was something I dreamed of.
throw the
And I
weapons back
tattooed
at the guy.
inside your head. Now, if you don't call that family, I don't know what is. And now,
Stop the bad man. Let's just keep. I just keep going. Jesus. I think I did something wrong. Complete the game without harvesting any little sisters.
They offered you this city.
I think I did a bad thing by saving them all. Jesus, the way they kept going on him like that.
And you refused it. And what did you do instead? What I've come to expect of you. You saved them. You gave them the one
they
thing
look
that
like
was stolen from them.
With hair.
A chance. A chance to learn. To find love. To live. And in the end, what was your reward? You never said. But I think I know. A family.
So, that is BioShock. The good ending. And the bad ending, you could probably look it up by now, and it's not really a spoiler, but Rapture kind of blows up, and you take off and essentially die alone. Without finding... Oh, the crescendo! See if I can skip it. Oh, well... It just completely skips it. There's no real after scene. There's no real... Is there additional content? Welcome to BioShock Challenge Rooms. Please note that while it's not meant to extend the story or connect to the narrative events. Huh. The Ion team with no weapons and no damage dealing. Plasmids find a way. Rescue the little sister. At the top of Mount Functioning Ferris wheel. Worlds of Hurt. Huh. That's cool. But essentially, that's BioShock. That's the good ending. That's saving all the little sisters. You can, in turn, harvest all of them. And when you do that, you have enough Atom to basically purchase everything in the gene shop. So you don't miss out on an upgrade here and there, but you basically just get the bad ending, which is eventually Rapture, not Rapture. Rapture ruptures. I think you stick Fontaine. Like you just grab it and stick him and stick him and stick him and then it goes on like blah 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 blah. You never find your family. You die. Blah, 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 blah. I've only done that bad ending one time, and that was just for the achievement to do it. So, again, I like the good ending. It's one of those ones that makes you just feel good. You find out your character is basically a lab experiment with no real family, and then he just makes his own family through all the trouble and everything, and saves, I don't know if you'd say saves Rapture, but you get rid of a lot of things, and a lot of this travels into BioShock 2, which eventually I'll play because that's another game I love. It is such an amazing game, about as long as this one, if not a little longer. And I don't want to spoil anything about it just in case you haven't, and I'm not in the game. When I'm actually playing the game, I'll spoil some stuff. But when I'm not in the game, I'll try not to spoil too much stuff. But the game's been out for so long that it's hard for people not to know that in BioShock 2, and if you don't want spoilers, cover your ears, in BioShock 2 you're playing as a Big Daddy. And that's probably one of the coolest things that they did. You got to play as a human in the first game, and then in the second game, you get to play as the Big Daddy itself, which you kind of get that thing in this one, where you kind of get the helmet and the suit and stuff, but you never get the drill. You don't really get all the cool stuff that the Big Daddy can do to charge. So overall, amazing story, amazing game. Just a game of its time. Pure fun, pure just back and forth, like, life is dirty, life is dark. And if we had no control over things, how would humanity react? Like, you're underwater with nothing. How would humanity, basically without any bounds or chains to them, completely free, react and go, and like what would spread, what wouldn't spread? And it's kind of one of those Fallout vaults that you always hear about, like the different experiments and stuff. But all in all, just amazing dystopian hellscape set underwater with plasmids, which essentially you could just call magic. You know, gene rewriting, gene splicing, just all the different weird nuances of the time, set in like a really cool 1960s world. Easily a 9 out of 10 game. Easily. Like, there would even be arguments to say like a 9 out of 5. You know, it's not a perfect game. Like, I can't say this is a 10 out of 10 game, because there's not enough to it. It's too simplistic. It's too, there's not enough. If you really want to do it, you could probably just run through this game real quick. And what makes it to the 9 and the 9.5 is the story, is the combat, is all these things. But that last 0.5 is just the controls, the mechanics, not really having much of option-wise, like you're pretty much your only option is harvest or save. And if you accidentally harvest one, it's pretty much over. You might as well just continuously harvest them. Even if you save one, you're not going to get the save achievement. You have to save all, or you harvest all, or you just harvest. Save or harvest, there's no in-between. So there's no real choice, like, if I save enough of them, but it's just are you, like, the whole thing falls into that story, that complexity of the story. Are you a monster? By harvesting all these poor little girls that are basically innocent? Or are you a man? Someone who stands up even for the weak and feeble, someone who is there to lend a hand, is there to actually be somebody, to give his life for people he does not know. You know, self-sacrifice. Are you going to be the monster who's only has self-interest, or are you going to be a man who shows resilience and self-sacrifice? And that's the whole shindig of BioShock. And it's just a great story with, like, mind control and just little bits and pieces of stuff that was, you know, the after effects of World War II and Russia and just all that stuff. But this is where I'm going to have to end it. Sorry, it's a super short episode because I didn't realize I would have extended the last episode out this long. I didn't realize I was right there, just that last Big Daddy fight, and then it was over. Didn't realize that. Or I would have just kind of the last episode, I would just keep kind of going. But this is a good way to just give me time, so I'm not worried. I'm not looking and being like, oh, I only have 30 seconds. What less things can I say about this game? But this gives me enough time to basically say what I want about the game. And I know the developers now aren't the greatest people in the world, but the team they had back then cared for this game. They loved it. They made this amazing story. The attention to detail in certain spots, a certain hiding of things in areas where if you looked too quickly, you would miss it, but something you wanted and needed, you would, if you were just kind of scanning, you could find it. But then if you started scanning a little more, you'd find this and this and this and this. And giving a lot of things that didn't happen in games like this is you didn't have like a lot of choices in ammo. It's usually you just get one thing of ammo, maybe two, and that's all you're stuck with. But this game gave you multiple sets of different types of ammo so that you weren't constantly fighting with, like, well, if I use the trap bullet, I'm going to spend 3 of my bullets, but I only have 10, so I can only put down like 3 of these, and then I got to go find more. And maybe in the harder difficulties you'll be wanting for ammo and money and plasmids and stuff, but I've played it on the harder difficulties and there always seems to be more money than you can ever use or carry. More ammo, even in the harder, like, survival-ish modes, there's still, like, more money and ammo. Things are a lot harder to hack, and you do use a lot more stuff, so it kind of equalizes in that sense. But just that this game is so near perfection, and it's hard not to give it a 10 out of 10. But there's little tweaks here and there it could do. There's some updates. Like, I'd love not a remastered, but a remake of this game with the system of BioShock 2. But I'm afraid that if they remade the game now, it would go the way of, you know, Dead Space, the Dead Space remake and other games of the time right now, where they're going to take everything out of the game that made this game the game. It's the 60s. There was a lot of smoking. There was a lot of drinking. There was a lot of things going on back then that aren't acceptable now. And we need that. We need to know that. We need to see that. We need to reflect on the fact that this stuff happened back then and it was wrong. We now know it's wrong, so we don't do it anymore. Like, if you smoke, you smoke. But having, smoking in certain areas, like on a plane where you're trapped, even if you didn't smoke, it's super bad for you because the plane just recycles the air. That's all it does. But there'd be a lot of changes. There'd be a lot of stuff going on. A lot of different things that they would have to retouch on because it wouldn't be acceptable now. And it makes me sad that that's the way things have to be nowadays. You can't just take a game and report it, make new things, bring graphics up to date, make things look clearer, better. Now we gotta change everything, and that's why I like coming back to these older games. They were gritty, they were dark, they were good. I paid, when this game came out new, I paid $60 for it, and I felt like I got $60. And this was 2006, 2007-ish time, when $60 was $60. So I felt like I got a game out of this, especially with the second one. Oh my god. So I'm just gonna leave that here. Thank you if you watched all the way through to this point. I really appreciate it. I hope you enjoyed BioShock. I know I'm not as funny, I'm not as quirky, I'm not as spinny, but when I'm alone doing these recordings, it's hard for me because I'm a bouncer. I like to, not in the sense of physical, but I like to bounce things off of people. So I can sit there and talk and have a good time with another person, and we can go back and forth. But alone, it's hard because I kind of need that feedback of if I say something, I get the feedback from the other person, they say something, then I can kind of go back and forth, and it gives it the wingman situation. But I love doing these recordings. I love showing people these games that are just amazing, that I'll be talking to someone and I'll say something and they'll just kind of look at me and I've never heard of that. I'm just like, how have you never heard of that? It's such a great game. And then I realized the game was back in the early 2000s, and I'm talking to someone who's in their 20s. In their early 20s. So that's why I make these videos, because games like this are going under the radar, that newer generations aren't seeing these games. And these are games that I play once every year or so. And I want to share this with the world. I want to share these experiences because it's so heartwarming in this one, especially to see, at the end when your character passes. Obviously, that's the end. You see that your actions had consequences, and that my actions left me with a better life than what could have happened if I would have harvested them all and I just would have died alone, probably in Rapture. It's been a long time. If you want to see it, I'm sure there's somebody on YouTube that has both endings posted. There might be a neutral ending. I'm not 100% sure. I've only ever done harvest all or harvest none, or rescue all or harvest all. I've never done an in-between game. But I kind of figure the moment you harvest one of them, it immediately goes to the harvest all ending, because it kind of seems like they'd all be scared of you, no matter what you kind of do. Unless there's a ratio where it's if you harvest one or two of them, you get the good one. I'm not 100% sure. I haven't looked too deep into that. But really what I want to do is later I want to go into the director's commentary. And I want to watch all this. Because I feel like there's a lot of good stuff in here. So I suggest if you pick up the game, find the director's reels, watch the commentary, enjoy. It's the museum. Take a look at the museum real quick before I end this recording. Welcome to the Museum of Orphaned Concepts. A guided tour. Oh, this is all the... Wow, if they looked like that. Oh, that looks awesome. What is that? They shoot cannonballs? Sick. That guy looks like he punches. He's gonna give you a good punch. Oh, that's right. They're supposed to be the atom slugs. Yeah, I think these show up in the second game. Yeah, they're little slugs that go around eating things and turning them into atom. And that's why in the game you hear the Dr. Tenenbaum talk about the different concepts of the Big Daddies. Yeah, the over spliced splicers that mutate. They were supposed to be more of like, they were supposed to be more zombie-esque than they were more human, but they decided to keep them more human, if I remember correctly. Yeah. God, that would have been actually pretty cool to have like these as bosses in the game. I'm fairly certain that this one becomes... This is one of the spiders, but I'm pretty sure that's one of the models for the Big Sisters in the next game. But yeah, some of these would have been pretty sick bosses to fight. Like, they're so spliced up that they turned into monsters. What's this guy? He doesn't even have a heart. Missing link model. This character is essentially the missing link between the grotesque early designs and the human splicers. Wow. Didn't evoke any empathy. Yeah, he looks like a commando. Like, he looks like a Russian commando. Like, I'm going to get you. Exhibits hanging sea life. The concept as an Easter egg for the observant museum visitors. Swimming past the player's view, yeah, you can see them all down to the Rapture in the opening scene. Yeah. You can see all these things. I always thought that was so cool. You could see all the different sea creatures since you were like that far down below. With the little water coming in. What is this? The early bouncer. Slow profum. Prototype Big Daddy. How do I leave? Just walk back here. You get like, they continued making this area when they put some things up so you can't get back. Quit to main menu, yes. Alright, in that case, thank you for watching, thank you for being here. I hope you enjoyed BioShock. I know I did. I enjoyed playing through it again for the I don't know how manyth time. And, you know, please like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you thought. Let me know if you enjoyed the game, if you enjoyed it. Got to hear, I know there was some bumps where I missed some stuff. And then probably a couple audio logs I missed along the way. Or other little things. But it's a great game. I usually go through with a little guide so that I can get every little bit of lore. But on this one, I didn't really have a guide because I was recording. A lot of times when you have the guide up, you gotta stop, look, read, and then come back to what you're doing. But in any case, thank you for watching. Thank you for being here. Like, comment, subscribe. You know, help just go through all the videos, like them, comment on them. Doesn't have to be anything too deep or detailed. Just be like, I like the game, or I love BioShock. Cow. I'm not really care, because all the liking and the commenting does is it helps get the videos out there. It helps in the algorithm of YouTube promote and push this, because I do this for friends and family, and for anyone else that just wants to sit down and see a game played through that actually has a really good story, even if you're not listening to me, even if you're not really thinking I'm that funny, like I'm no this guy or that guy. I'm not going to name any YouTubers. But it's all about the story of the game. It's all about just having fun, experiencing for the first time, or re-experiencing the game. So until the next time, you be you, you stay you, and most importantly, adventure on.